Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Monday Night Hustle. How's everybody doing this evening? Thank you for joining me. I am Pamela Tate Roger, Gold Consultant from San Francisco, California. Thank you again. I am looking forward to getting into tonight's presentation. And I'm waiting to see if anybody else is going to hop. Good evening, everybody. I got kicked off my own webinar, so I'm back. Great evening. Today is Monday, and welcome to the Monday Night Hustle. I'm Pamela Tate Roger, Gold Consultant with Evolution Travel, and we are going to get started this evening. I do have a topic for the evening. No one has submitted anything to me, so we're going to go on and talk about setting up a travel party. Please chat in the chat box. I want to make sure everybody's chats are working. Please post your chat information down here in the bottom. Just say hi. I want to make sure that if you have any questions, that way I know that I can read your chat request. I see Katina's. Good evening, Katina. Thanks for joining. Natasha, Aretha, and Kitty Jean. JG, is yours working?
Yes, I'm good. Yes. I just typed slow.
Awesome. No worries. No worries. So today we're going to talk about travel party training. I did a training weekend at our post-national convention this weekend and did the 4 steps to evolve. And something that kind of stood out for me during that process was, hey, Patricia, that people are doing a wide gamut of things in terms of travel party planning. And so one of the things we talked about this week on the Morning Inspirational Rise and Grind call was making sure that parties are duplicatable. Nothing like a new agent coming into the business needing to do their PTA training, quick start training, set a date for a launch party, and then they walk into a travel party where there are 20 people there, a full gourmet spread, wine, cheese, crackers, and a meal, and being told that they need to set up a travel party within their first 30 days in business. That's pretty intimidating, right? The thing about our travel parties, they are supposed to be duplicatable. And of course, we do have exceptions to those rules because, people can do what they want to do. If you're doing something and it's more like a gathering of friends, then of course we want to do that. If it's family members, if it's potluck, you got lots of variety and different things that you could choose to do. If you're holding it in your home, if you're hosting it at one of your friends' homes who's interested in being a travel agent, the same rules would apply. You want to make sure that the parties are duplicatable. If you go to a round table pizza, that's certainly duplicatable, but who wants to spend $100 on pizza for 5 people to show up, right? We want to make sure that what we're doing is something that new agents coming in can actually replicate. And we've been talking about this fabulous party that my team members put on I guess that was last week, where they had clams and they had homemade cookies and gourmet treats from scratch. And, people have been ranting and raving about the party. And honestly, it was one of the best travel parties I've been to since I've been in Evolution. But with that caveat, we have to say that the 2 leaders who had the party are professional caterers. And so that's how they get down. You know what I mean? They are constantly in the kitchen. They are cooking. They are throwing down, and that's what they do for a living. They have secondary jobs, but Sunshine actually owned a restaurant, and it was quite a popular restaurant out in Antioch. And so, we're talking about people who know how to cook in bulk, love to cook, and it's an expression of who they are. And so, of course, their parties are going to look a lot different than someone freshly coming into a business who is going, I just want to tell my friends that I started a travel agency, right? So tonight what we're going to do is kind of go over my travel party planning form that I created for new agents. And I hope my printer noise is not disturbing you. I was printing something and literally thought that it would be over by now, and unfortunately it's not. So I apologize in advance for that. I'm printing out my specialist training slides. So we're going to talk about travel party planning, and this is just a simple form that I created to kind of guide new agents, seasoned agents, and people on your teams to plan out their travel party. So specifically for new team members who are creating and planning a launch, you want to make sure that they know and select an event date. And we tell them that we want them to do that within their first 30 days of business. Why? It's inspiring them to act. People who get started when starting a business usually stay in business, but those who kind of sputter and don't do their training, don't set up their party, those are the people who are not going to be around after their first 30 days. We have a 10-day money back guarantee, but who wants to see them leave at 30 days? They joined the business, they had confidence in themselves, and we had confidence in them. So we want to encourage them to get started on the right foot, right? So with that said, you want to encourage them to set a travel party date and make sure you coordinate that date with your calendar if you are their sponsor. It's important that you're there for them if you are their sponsor. Your job is to help guide them through the party process. If you're a brand new agent as well, then that's when you get your sponsor. And if your sponsor is a relatively new agent, call your platinum. Make sure your platinum's available. So you want to write out who's the event host. It might be the new agent, or it might be the new agent and their sponsor. So write out who's going to be that event host and who's going to be their registration team coordinator. Who's going to be the person that's going to greet people at the door, provide them with any travel packages that you might have set up where it has an application or a brochure about Evolution Travel or a postcard about whomever is sponsoring the party's business. You want to make sure that you have someone that's greeting them at the door and making sure that they sign in. That's really important. We want them to sign in with their name, their telephone number, and an email address. Now, if these people don't join your business or the person who's hosting the party's business, that way you have their phone number and their email address. You can invite them to future events. You can email them and say, hey, I'm doing a group trip. Or you can just email them and say, hey, I'm interested in booking travel for you. I'm a new travel agent, and I really, really appreciate you coming to the party, and just want to let you know I'm available to book your travel. The next position is your publicity coordinator. And I want to say, some of these positions might just be you, and you. If you're sponsoring the party, if you're the new agent, again, it could be you, and you. You could be hosting the event. You can be the greeter at your door. You can be the person responsible for the publicity of your event. You can be the person doing the presentation if you've been practicing that presentation. You could be the trainer for the 4 steps to evolve, or you could be the person who's reciting poet. And we'll talk about what those things are as we get to them. Or it can be JG is hosting an event. Her registration team coordinator might be someone from her team or someone who just joined the business and wants to see what a travel party is about. And so she's going to greet people and pass out the travel booklets and brochures. Your publicity coordinator. Now that's going to be the person who's going to make your flyer. It might be you, it might not be you. And if it's not you, you want to make sure that person gets all the details for your flyer. The date, the time for registration, the time that you're actually starting the travel party, what's your anticipated end time. Make sure that they have all the pertinent details that you should have, i.e., your event location. Is it in your home, which ideally it should be, or if you're having it at a local venue, the address of that location. Is there Wi-Fi available? Is not pertain to this, but you always want to be thinking, make sure wherever you set up a party that there is Wi-Fi available. Because if you have no Wi-Fi, that's just not going to work, right? You might want to watch and do a click and play if you're not doing a live presentation. And so you want to make sure you have access to the internet. So down here, I have who is creating your flyer. And that could be different than your publicity coordinator. And the date that you're expecting that flyer to be created, because that's important. If you are having an event and it's like 5 days away, one, that's kind of short notice, but you want to make sure you give whoever's making your flyer plenty of time, and you have at least 2 weeks with that flyer in your hand to email it to friends, text message it to friends, post it on Facebook, and invite specific friends and family and guests that you want to possibly come out for your event launch. Then we say Evo presentation. Again, that could be click and play, or it could be that your sponsor is going to come and stand up in front of the room and do a live presentation, or your platinum might even come out and do a live presentation. So you just want to know who's on board to do that. Then the next thing, a trainer to do 4 steps to evolve, which is basically, telling them, okay, great. That's what you do right after you get everybody signed up. You talk about what it is that they need to do in order to be successful. One, being a product of the product, booking trips for themselves, getting out there and meeting people. You want to make sure that they are talking about fam trips and getting information on FAMs. And of course, it should start with completing their PTA training, right? And then we also want to make sure that they're following up and doing some additional things as well. Their first step, as I said, was being a product of the product. The second one we want to do is encourage them to make a list. Now, their list is going to be 20 to 50 people who might be interested in either their business joining it or their business in terms of booking travel for those people as potential clients. Now, you don't want to start cutting people off. You want to remind them. It can be business associates. It can be people who are at your nail shop. It could be your beauty salon. It could be your grocery store. It could be people from your church. It could be people from your professional organizations or people that you're affiliated with your workplace. It could be your children's baseball league or soccer teams. You just want to make sure that you don't automatically exclude people from your list, because you want a big list, because people will either eliminate themselves, and if they say they're not interested in joining the business, ask them, are they interested in booking travel with you? The third thing is, we were talking about travel parties, and so here we are planning out our travel party, and again, this is all in your 4 steps to evolve. We talk about hosting travel parties and how to be successful in 1, hosting your travel party, and then in 2, generating the type of income that you'd like to have based upon the number of parties that you participate in. And the 4th thing is just reminding everyone to make a commitment to themselves. You don't get a job and kind of start training and then 2 days later announce you're going to quit. There's a learning curve, and you're not expected to learn everything about your business or its best practices or all the trainings that are going to be required, or selecting your niche. It takes a minute. You have to, massage those muscles and start to learn about customer contact and what type of customer relational management systems you'd like to use, and utilizing your calendar, and of course your travel party dates, and planning your family time around that. And if you have a business, planning how are you going to do your own business while you are working at your plan A business. These are things that we kind of want to talk about so that people don't get out of there and be like, I'm a travel agent, I'm going to take this 1.5 hour PTA training, and now I'm ready to conquer the world. And as soon as they open backs, they go, I don't know what to do with this. We just want to be mindful and remind them that's why they have a sponsor. And if you can't work with your sponsor, there's plenty of other people around, including their platinum, that is there to assist them. Then we want to have someone, and this one is optional, so I'm actually going to write optional for Poet. Poet is the, sorry, I'm just writing optional and spelled optional with too many options there. Optional has no I. Let's correct that. So with Poet, you basically just want to have them talk about, piquing interest and how you approach new people. So there's that, asking, might you want to be a travel consultant? And then talking to them, and it might be exposing them with a video. It might be exposing them in a 3-way call, or it might be exposing them at a travel party. So that poet training is optional. But those 3 elements that you really need to make sure you have and maintain are the evolution presentation. Who is going to do that? Because that's really important. Your 4 steps to evolve, because once we have them signed up, that's really important. And of course, that welcome person, the registration team coordinator, who's going to greet them at the door, who's going to be a reflection of evolution in your business, and who's going to be welcoming and inviting. That's the person you want at your door. Ooh, I'm going to undo that. That's who you want at your door as your greeter. Someone that's going to just have a general spirit and is going to welcome in their people and make them feel glad that they're there. So we're going to move down to event logistics. Ideally, as we said, travel parties should be in your home initially, and there's nothing like that home environment. It has bred and been a breeding ground for success with companies like Mary Kay and, of course, Avon. And most network marketing companies do work from the home. If you don't feel comfortable hosting a party in your home, and your sister has a fabulous house, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm interested in doing my party at your house, or you're interested in becoming a travel agent. Why don't you invite some of your friends by and I'll do a presentation? That's still considered a launch party. So those types of opportunities you want to take advantage of as well. So you want to make sure you have the name of the location. If it's a location other than a house, so if it's at JG's house, it would be JG's house. If it's going to be at JG's sister's house, we'd say Paulette, JG's sister. The address is really important. And I'm about to run out of ink. I apologize for that. And then you want to ask, is Wi-Fi available? And yeah, if it's in your home, you would know if you have Wi-Fi. But if you're doing this at someone else's house, that would be important for you to ask them, is there Wi-Fi available? Because you definitely want to have access to Wi-Fi. That could be because you're going to do a click and play, where you're going to play James Brown's video, or either Derek and Isla Velasquez's video, and you would want to make sure that you have internet in order to access that video off of YouTube. And then if you're not going to be doing that type of a presentation and you've decided you're going to do a live presentation, then you want to make sure you have copies of the PowerPoint presentation, because again, you want to practice that, and you should be doing that long before you have guests. So let's move on down to the next thing. What type of foods do you plan to serve? And I know people are like, oh my goodness. You don't have to spend $300 for a launch party. Again, it can be something as simple as cheese slices that are already pre-cut at your grocery store, a box or 2 of mixed crackers for people to use with those cheese slices. Get some fruit. You can either buy a fruit platter, or you can buy grapes, cut up some oranges, make it look very nice on a tray, and call it a day. Buy strawberries and whipped cream, and put the whipped cream in a bowl and put a spoon there for people to level out their whipped cream and dip their own strawberries. Or you can do strawberries and chocolate sauce. There's all kinds of things that you can do that are affordable. Again, if you're doing a formal type dinner, let that be the reason that you just wanted to get together with your family. That is not a requirement for you to do when you're doing a travel party. Now, a couple of housekeeping things. You want to say, what time are you setting up your party? So if you're having it at your home, you say your party's starting at 12 and you want to start setting up at 10. You want to make sure that your registration time would be 12 noon if you're saying you're starting at 12. So whomever your registration team coordinator is, even if it's not you, you want them there a half an hour before then to an hour before. Why? They're going to look at the travel materials that you're going to be passing out. They're going to make sure that any folders that you've put together for your guests are put together and available to be handed out. They're going to learn the lay of the land. Where's the bathroom in this house? Where's the kitchen in this house? Where's the table that's set up for display for the travel party materials? And then they're going to person, I don't like to say man, they're going to person that table and oversee it and make sure that all the materials are available for anybody who would like to take some of those materials. If you're doing a 12 noon registration time or saying it's starting at 12:30, then your presentation should start at 12:30. Excuse me, registration's at 12. That means your presentation should start at 12:30. Be on time. Be prompt. It's really important because every person that's attending, their time is just as valuable as yours. Provided you have no technical glitches, do your very best to start on time, regardless of whether there's one person in the room or 15 people in the room. That one person went out of their way to make sure they're on time. Make sure that you start on time. If again you have technical glitches, be sure to just apologize and say we will be starting as soon as possible. We're dealing with technical glitches. We had technical glitches this weekend at our post-national event. We went to a new hotel that we hadn't been to before, and the projector system for some reason didn't work with our laptops, and someone had to go and get a new projector for us to use. It happens. And it's okay. We just need to be flexible, be gracious, and let your people that are there know, hey, we're having a little issue, and let them know that as soon as you can get it started, you're going to get it started. Okay, so now the next thing would be AV equipment. And on here it says circle all that apply. Will you be using a TV, i.e. praying click play, where you're going to be watching a YouTube of the presentation? Or will you be doing this from a laptop? If you're doing this from a laptop, you would circle whether it's a PC or if it's going to be a Mac type computer. I have video here because if you are doing the TV, your next move is actually you would need to have a video selected. And because, we have choices, and again, we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves, we have several choices that we can use for our video. We have, as I said earlier, James Brown Jr.'s video, and we also have Derek and Isla's video. And so we would just need to say what we're doing, which one of those things we're selecting. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Basically, you're saying whomever is going to be leading that, they have carte blanche to ad lib or go directly on script with that presentation group of slides. You want to make sure you have an HDMI cord. It's the connecting cord for the TV to a computer. It's what's going to let them read each other and what's going to transport whatever's on your laptop to your TV and vice versa. Speakers. Do you need external speakers? If so, you want to bring that. Some people have I call it a boombox, but it's a traveling speaker, and it actually has a microphone. I knew I deleted something by accident off of that line. And so you want to circle all the equipment that you believe that you're going to need. And then you want to make sure that you get that equipment together 1 week before and do a dry run. You want to practice and make sure that your TV is actually connecting to the laptop. And when it connects to the laptop, that it's reading the PowerPoint presentation, or it could be a keynote presentation, or it could have been sent to you via Dropbox. And nothing in the world would be more embarrassing if you got there and said, oh yeah, they sent it to me during Dropbox, and you go to open the Dropbox and you can't access the file. You want to practice, and make sure that all of your technical issues are taken care of prior to your guests getting there, right? Because time is money and our guests are there, and we want to make sure we're giving them the best presentation that we can possibly give them. And so at that point, that's pretty much it in terms of this forum. Did anybody have any questions for me at this time regarding the travel party training forum or planning a travel party or your own personal launch party? Did anybody have any questions or anything? Yes, Baroness.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
Is there any way that we could get this form?
I can put it in our money team page. We have a variation where it just kind of lists out everything you should do at a travel party, but not the form. So yeah, I will put that in there tonight.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. If anybody else wants it, please feel free to inbox me on Facebook and I'll put it out there. I think I might just put it in the morning inspirational call page as well as JG's page. I don't care if anybody changes it or whatever, do it, whatever you need to do with it, customize it, make it yours. I'm going to take these highlights off because I don't think they need to be there. But yeah, whatever you want to do with it, have at it.
Maybe
Anyone else have questions?
The snacks that
I can't hear you, JG. Speak up again.
Me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's a little faint.
Okay, maybe it's my speaker. Anyway, I'll speak louder. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, just mention to them that they don't have to have a lot of food, just some chips and water, or chips and punch or something.
And I think I'll make a little note on here.
Right. Because a lot of people think they're supposed to get a whole bunch of neat stuff. So just
and that's why I said, it's something simple. Keep imam. You want to keep it simple. You want to just do something light. Like I said, get a bowl of strawberries, get a bowl of whipped cream. They can put whipped cream on strawberries. Make sure there's water, coffee, and make it available. And then if you're doing anything that's bigger than that, or if you're doing like a team party, then have it as a team potluck where multiple people are bringing in things, because you do want to make sure that this is duplicatable. We do want to make sure that people don't feel overwhelmed with doing this. And again, the launch party can be a nice special party, but that's kind of hard to maintain if you're doing a travel party every week. You don't want to spend $100 a week to have a travel party, because if you're not getting customers and clients and or agents, it's not cost efficient. Yes, Baroness.
I'm sorry. I wanted to know if would it be feasible to, like, I came across these little luggage tags, like to give little knickknacks away, or should you not?
Or should you what?
And or should you not do that?
You can do whatever you want to in your party. The main thing is keep it simple. Keep it duplicatable. Okay. I don't do anything that costs me more than what it would cost me to be at the dollar store. My folders, I get them on sale at Walmart. I put a label on it that has my team name, and I put my materials that are in there, a little thing about the company. I put one of the free travel books that we get that has my label on it. I put a copy of an application, a hard copy of an application for someone to fill out an application in case we have a problem processing their application online, or if they say, oh, I'm going to join on the 15th, I'm going to say, well, fill out your form now, and I will keep it until the 15th and enter it.
I'm not good with Face ID.
So that's kind of what I do. And someone needs to mute their call because they're...
Uh-oh, I wanted to ask the question. Okay, Robert, turn the TV down. I'm sorry, Pam.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead, Dee.
Oh man, I just drew a memory blank. You said something about free travel certificates. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Where would we find that at? I mean, I've asked that question to several different.
Well, now I'm answering you. Our team has purchased travel certificates for our team to distribute. So.
Oh, okay.
And who is your platinum?
Brown, James Brown.
James Brown. I would check in with Kathy Muhammad and or James Brown and say, hey, I'm interested in certificates. Do we have certificates for distribution for our team?
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And not everybody gives away certificates. Some people go to the dollar store and buy things like those luggage tags, or they make luggage tags. We don't have a formula for what you give away. That is completely your choice.
That was my next question, Pam. I know they were saying if you can give the free cruise away if somebody joins that day or something like that. So
Well,
is
you've
that
been to a party, Baroness. You know that you can give away whatever you'd like to give away. If someone is joining your business and you want to give them a cruise because you have the certificate, you can give them the cruise certificate. If you have the restaurant certificate, which I think is still available in the back office, you can give that away. I print up
no,
the.
that one's expired. That
Oh,
one's expired. It doesn't work anymore. Yeah.
okay, well then,
But the reason I was asking was because I was on a call when they were saying to keep it simple, just to keep it as simple as possible, so that way the new agents don't get overwhelmed if they can't duplicate the same thing you did. So that's why I was asking.
okay, if you have a new agent, that person's on your team, right?
Yes.
So if they're on your team and you have a certificate, you're going to give them a certificate for them to photocopy, right? That's
Right.
duplicatable.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So just keeping it simple like that. So in terms of people who are on teams, like I said, I know that our 1-Stars Platinums purchased certificates for us to distribute. So basically, once you get that certificate, it has an expiration date. You photocopy those, you make that available. And again, that is your decision at that point if you want to give it because they booked or if you want to give that as the gift because they attended. That choice is up to you. It definitely has more incentive. If we go, oh, well, if you sign up today, I'm going to give you a certificate for a free cruise. But if you have a different type of certificate, like say, you bought the 2-night overnight hotel one, you can give that to someone for attending the party. Or I make up booking certificates where I'll say this is good for a free booking and I won't charge you a booking fee. So you can do something like that because that is something that produces value.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that one.
For sure. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, those things are completely, at your disposal. And that again is duplicatable. So did anybody else have any questions on that or any other elements of a travel party? JG, you have any opinions on a travel party? I did this as a simple launch type party and a weekly party. We could go further and talk about if you're planning a super Saturday, because that does become a little bit more in detail. But let's take care of basics right now. Does everybody feel comfortable with our basic planning a travel party? And has everyone done a travel party? Let's type that in the chat box. Has everybody done their party?
Pam, this is Baroness again. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep interrupting, but me and my brand new agent Anna are getting ready to have our first travel party. I just have to get with Patrice to make sure I don't bump up against nothing that she's got going on. But we're going to give one in August, and she's super excited. I'm nervous because I've never given one either. But I was thinking along the lines of maybe calling my people and asking them to give a travel party like they used to do Avon and Tupperware and stuff like that.
Most definitely. But you should do a launch first.
And
you should do a launch. A launch. Your first travel party.
I did my launch. My sipping paint was my sipping paint was my launch. So this one's going to be my travel party.
Okay, so at your sipping paint, you didn't talk about travel? Well,
I just had my information and stuff out there.
Then that wasn't technically your
launch.
Your travel launch. No, you're doing a travel launch where you're talking about travel and you're a travel agent and showing them the business opportunity. That's your travel launch.
Okay.
So it sounds like
then I need to do a travel launch. We need to do a travel launch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then after that, anybody who can't come to your travel launch, then I highly recommend you say, hey, I'd like to do a travel party at your home. And that way you can invite your friends and I'll be happy to show them and you the presentation.
Okay. I'll do that. Cool.
Okay. Wow. JG, any opinions?
You covered it magnificently. I just wanted them to know about go to Sam's and get one of those 50 bag chip boxes. They're only like $10 or $12, and get you a gallon of fruit punch and a set of paper cups and a roll of paper towels, because they're cheaper than napkins. There you have it.
Right.
Fold your little paper towels up into little triangles and be fancy with it.
Right. You know, again, this can be as simple or as fancy as you want it to be. Again, I tell people your launch can be a little bit more than what you do weekly. But honestly, the goal isn't to break the bank. The goal is to just get your group together, let them know what you're doing, and let them see the presentation about your business. Oh, and you also want to have a conversation. Just say, hey, if you're not interested, that's awesome, and I'm completely fine with that. But say, I'm looking forward to booking your travel. And let them know you're open for business and you appreciate and welcome referrals. You always want to say that.
Your gold or platinum, please money notice. Don't call today and say I need you on Saturday.
Most definitely. And I should say that for your travel launch, because we're encouraging you to do this within your first 30 days, don't be offended if your platinum's not available. But your sponsor should make themselves available. And even if they don't live in your area, I did Zoom. I started off with 3 agents here, and Patrice was in Southern California, and we had a virtual party. She had a whole house full of people live in her home, and we went on Zoom, and I did the presentation. She edified me. I did the presentation. She had, I think it was like 6 people who signed up, and the rest is history. So it can be done. It can be done. Lee, did you have any questions or any thoughts that you'd like to add to this?
Hi, no, sorry, I joined late because I was meeting with my
that's okay.
My business partner. So, no, I think you guys covered everything pretty
Kitty?
well.
Okay, Kitty, anything?
No questions. You guys covered it pretty well.
Okay, well then, do you guys want me or want to take a look at what it would look like if we were doing a Super Saturday? Because I'm feeling like, whoo, this was short tonight. No questions?
That sounds good.
I would. I'd like to know about Super Saturday. We're planning one in Mississippi, so anything
yeah.
give me.
No. So I created this for the California Golds. Similar thing as my travel party, and that's where these things came from, based out of needs and necessity. And so, hold on for just a second. I kind of did this because there were 13 of us at the time, and everybody has different parts and different moving pieces. We wanted to make sure that we weren't dropping the balls on anything. For Super Saturdays, obviously that's not in somebody's house. It's a little larger scale. We go to hotels. We've been in restaurants and banquet rooms. And so we needed to, and I don't know who's drawn, but don't start annotating because I will shut this off. Let's see. Get that off of here. There. Because I am recording, so I don't want to have this on there. Okay, so Super Saturday. Basically, who's your lead? So even if you have someone that, and I recommend that the lead not be one of your presenters. I am a technical person, and so I tend to work with TQ in the event that Leslie the Belt is not available. When we're in Southern California, I am TQ's assistant, and I've done it, I think, only once. Actually, I just did it this Saturday when Leslie's not available because she was at a funeral. But basically, you want to make sure you have an event lead who is not going to be in front of the room. That person is going to take care of logistics on the day. That person is going to coordinate with the hotel staff once you're on site and say, hey, we need a blank, we need this. You're going to help arrange chairs or go, that's too crowded, or let's move these chairs up, or let's start lining up the chairs at the back from here. That person is going to be kind of coordinating the on-site things. The next one would be your registration team coordinator. Now that person is going to take care of registration on site. And I think I'm going to type the word on site. And of course, you know, this is all something that is static and can change at any moment. It's just the system that's currently working for us. We have an on-site team registration coordinator, and that's usually Blanche. Because she handles our PayPal account for incoming tickets for Northern California. And so we usually have her be responsible for the on-site registration. The Eventbrite sales coordinator / publicity. It's been typically Derek or myself who sets up the Eventbrite. I set up all the Eventbrites for Southern California events as well. So setting up the Evite page, making sure that the funds land in whoever is going to be the treasurer for the event. So in this case, in Northern California, it's usually Blanche on the California Golds account. And then in Southern California, it would go to Patrice. And I've also done Sacramento, which went to Linda. And so my job would be set up the Eventbrite page, getting all the details that are required to be on that Eventbrite page, i.e., where is the event? How much is the event? What is the date of the event? Who is speaking or featured at the event? What is the at the door cost of the event? An email address for contact information, the Eventbrite address for purchasing the tickets. And I think I pretty much covered everything that the publicity person would cover. And of course, what date is that item due? What date is the flyer due? And then it goes out and everybody is to blast it. And of course, the coordinator should be blasting it as well, but making sure the team members, the golds, the platinums, the silvers, and everybody on the team is publicizing the event. Then you have event logistics. Now that is also done by your platinums or either your event lead. So it would be like, who got the venue? What's the name of the venue? What's the address of the venue? And whoever is going to be that contact person, which is usually the event lead or the platinums. And once you start looking at your event location, is there Wi-Fi available? Yes or no? And if it is available, is it at an additional cost? Yes or no? Do you guys need to run a hotspot? You need to know that prior to getting there. What's the cost for Wi-Fi if you're purchasing it from a hotel or from the venue? Then you want to say, will there be water service at this venue? Or will there be coffee? Or is there a bar? Or is there a restaurant? You want to know, one, in your room, is there water service? And you always want to ask for at least a minimum of water service. If there's coffee, of course, that's going to cost money. So we tend to kind of stay away from that. But is there coffee or some kind of shop there in that venue where people can go out and purchase coffee or a drink or whatever? Then you have your setup time, which is usually 2 hours prior to the event, so that your AV team can run cords, set up, and do a dry run of presentations to make sure that it's ready. And that's how we found out the projector at this new hotel did not match and wasn't compatible to our computer. Then we have a registration time. What time is registration? That team should be there 1 hour prior to the event starting. Presentation time. What time are you going to have your host get up there and shine and say, hey, we're here, we're getting ready to do this? Presentation time, that would be on the flyer. Your flyer should list what time registration opens, which is half an hour before presentation time. Then you have cleanup time, meaning you're going to end at 4 o'clock. That means you need to be out of that room by 5 to break everything down, pack up your AV, unless of course you're having your hotel do the AV, and just making sure that you've cleared that room. The next thing you want to do is who is going to be your event host. Now in Northern California, our hosts have to be silver or above. So that's something that David has told us, where he's like, you know, you kind of have to earn your right to be in front of the room. And so our hosts are silver and above. For our event presenters, it's gold or above. And you usually have 2. One person does the beginning of the presentation. The other person does the financial portion of the presentation. If you have local platinums, they usually close out the room. At the time where you're getting people to sign up, they usually have a Q&A, or either they might do some type of training. And then of course you always want to find out, will the founder be attending? And yes or no, because if he is attending, obviously he is going to be on your flyer. Then you get to AV personnel. In Northern California and Southern California, we're very blessed that we have Leslie and TQ. They do the corporate AV for convention and any of the other events that David pretty much is doing, where David is sponsoring something. So they live here in Northern California, and sorry, got somebody snoring in my living room, so I apologize for that. And then we go into event trainers. Because the presentation with 2 people usually takes no more than 40 minutes, we allow 40 minutes for that. And then there's a 10-minute break for a mad dash of people to sign up, because usually we have a prize for whoever signs up the fastest. Like the first 5 people to sign up will get a prize, and it might be movie tickets that we purchased from our back office, or we might give them the hotel voucher and a cruise voucher, or we might give them a gift card that's a Visa gift card. Whatever you decide to give, that's what's going to be available for them. Then it's like a 10-minute break, so that'll take you through your first hour, and then we transition over to training. The next training is the 4 steps to evolve, and I kind of went through that as we talked about our travel party. I actually did that training this weekend, and it's just one of those things that can be very soothing to new agents, for them to know and understand that when they come into the business, they're not expected to know everything, but just giving them those steps to know what they're going to be doing, and asking them to commit to doing it for the next 18 months in order to become successful. Then we have Poet, where we talk about piquing interest, 3-way calls, and closing people, and prospecting, and then of course building. And then we, here in Northern California, try and do some type of a travel training, and that's usually no more than 20 minutes. And then we do a mindset training, another 20 minutes, tax or miscellaneous topic, which is another 20 minutes. That takes you to a full 2 hours. Now, sometimes we'll pull out some of these where it won't have a tax training or a mindset training, and we'll expand a travel training, just because people are coming to a party, but you assume they're already planning travel parties, or they're conducting travel parties. So we want to make sure that our current agents are getting fed as well. So we will do a travel or mindset training to make sure that they are included. And what you'll notice where it says event trainers, we have intro songs below them, and that kind of gives our AV person a cue to know, hey, when Patrice comes out, they automatically play Danger Zone, because she's Danger Zone Travel. When David comes out, you'll notice they always play Powerful from Empire. So everybody kind of has a song, and that's how we do that, and you list out your songs there. The registration team will have a travel table, PTA, or a travel booker. So we say someone who's got 3 people, or a serious booker. It might be an IATAN card holder to man that travel table, and people can ask questions there. The registration team consists of executive consultants and above, and our door greeters are generally bronze and above. And then we get down to Eventbrite, where I was talking with you all about Eventbrite. Some of the things that you need to make sure you have on your Eventbrite: online ticket sale cutoff date. So if you're cutting off your ticket sales on Thursday and the event is on Saturday, you need to make sure that that's listed on the website so it will shut off the sales. Or if you had an early bird special where it ends on a specific date, you want to make sure you have that so it cuts those sales off. You want to say what the early bird special cost is. So if it's $20 if you buy an early bird ticket, it's $25 if you buy it the last 2 weeks before the event, and $30 at the door. So you have an early bird cost, you have a general admission cost, and then you have a at the door cost. Now that at the door cost is after online sales have been completed. Then you have an Eventbrite setup date, and usually that's working with your group, and they'll say, hey, we need this page set up with all graphics by this Friday. That would be your drop dead date. Eventbrite setup with a link to PayPal, is that going to be the case? Yes or no? Some people have that where they have the monies sent to them afterwards. Most of the time, that's not going to fly because it can be expensive to do hotels. And so we make sure that it's linked up to someone's PayPal. And then it says Eventbrite link to purchase tickets. You can create your own link. And so we put that there. We also take this full flyer and we submit it to Cameron for him to create our corporate flyer. Now, we say the date that the link and the flyer info was provided to Cameron to create the event flyer, which is the corporate event flyer, and we send it all off. And also with that, we send off pictures of any person who is going to be doing the presentation, your platinums, and of course, if the founder is going to be in the building. Now, if you have 7 people doing training, we don't include the trainers on the flyers because it can be a lot of pictures, but you always want to have your host, who's doing the presentation, if you have any platinums that'll be in the building, and of course, David. And so the date that we received and posted the corporate flyer, meaning Cameron has given it back to us, and then we're off and running. And that is a Super Saturday regional event planning form. Any questions on this one?
Pam, can you verify this? I was told that there is a corporate flyer that you have to use for, or a standard type way you have to do your flyers for a Super Saturday. Is that correct?
Cameron does those. That's done through corporate office, yes. And that's why I said the format is generally your host is pictured, the 2 presenters are pictured, and then your platinums are pictured. And of course, if David is attending, then David would be pictured. So if you have trainers that are coming as well, that's all great. But generally, there used to be a 5-person per flyer rule. I've noticed that they've kind of gone over that now that we have so many platinums and platinums are traveling to so many places. But generally speaking, it used to be a 5-person maximum on a flyer, and all those flyers are created by corporate by Cameron.
And how would we, is there a protocol for who can request a flyer to be made for Super Saturday?
Once you've done your regional flyer for that, usually you give it to a platinum and they will submit it. If you are like in your circumstance, I don't think you don't roll into Valerie, correct? You can ask Valerie to submit it, or you would contact David directly and he'll give you Cameron's email address. When you send it, carbon copy David, and then Cameron will get it done.
Cool.
You have to provide the pictures that are going to be on the flyer in addition to the names. You want to make sure the names are spelled correctly as well. And then their rank, of course.
Okay, and for the Eventbrite payments, so if we're paying for a venue, and you had mentioned a treasurer, is that hard set in stone? Because it would be myself and Katina trying to arrange all of this stuff.
No, if you two are working it out, then you're the person that's going to be the payee. In California, there are just so many of us in Northern California. It was easier to do that because one time you'd have Blanche getting the money. One time you'd have Pam getting the money. One time you might have Delmaine getting the money. And we actually pooled our money and started an account with $100 to make sure that we had money available to pay for venue, so that nobody ever had to write a $700 check for a room.
Okay. Alrighty. And the other thing I heard, you know how gossip is. The other thing I heard was you have to have a minimum of 20 people to have a platinum or David come. Is that true?
I can't answer that question. In Northern California, we're the largest body, so we always know we have 20. So I can't answer that question. You know what I mean? It's not a new region.
Okay.
But even in Southern California, Tony came down initially for Patrice because we were growing that area. And of course, you know, she came up here when we were with our old company. And so, you know, we're just like, we're invested in making sure that that area grows. And so Tony came down, I went down, Derek and Isla even came down. David went from Vegas. It was just like, you know, showing support. I mean, you have somebody who's literally, Patrice was alone. And there are over almost close to 200 people in Southern California now, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yes.
So it can be done.
Mississippi gonna be like that. Give us 90 days.
It's coming. I know it's coming because you're working. Yeah, but if you want to talk with me offline about Super Saturday and helping to get set up, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem, love. No problem. Well, I'm going to wrap us up. It's 9:57, and I have to get my daughter ready. She's going to be leaving for her baseball tournament to Chicago, so we got a lot of packing and stuff to do. But I hope this was helpful to everybody. I will go on and post the basic travel party form into our Evolution Sunrise Rise and Grind page, as well as JG's page, and of course my own team page. And if anybody would like to use it, you have my permission. Feel free to do so. Chop it up. Do what you need to do. If you want to customize it and make it yours, please feel free to do so. And with that said, thank you for joining me on the Monday Night Hustle. I appreciate you all being here. I will get this downloaded and hopefully get it uploaded by tomorrow, but if not, definitely by the weekend. I truly appreciate you being here. I know it's late for some of you, and I will see a lot of you at 5:30 a.m. on the morning call with Patrice Abel's Advanced Training. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Good night, everybody.